Hello, welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade.
Welcome to everyone, all my fans, on this live broadcast show. Thank you for hooking up with me. We are so glad that you are part of this live broadcast show. I'm Niyi Dunmade, the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. Niyi Dunmade is my name, the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps churches grow healthier through empirical assessments, trainings, and strategic blueprint. I'm also the certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the US. And every week we release good broadcasts for you on Monday Morning Matters. Every week, every Monday, just to set your week on course. And so we talk on church health, church growth as a church health guardian. I want to thank everyone also for commenting on our posts, sharing out, liking, those who also watched us in our book launch on the church retention. Church retention is really getting a good grasp in the market. So a big thank you to everyone who is making it sound for us. Thank you so much. Today we're going to go deep down into what we need to deal with, okay? And that's the aspect of the book. When you do not have church discipline, when you don't have discipline in these 5 areas I'm going to mention to you, you are going to lose control of what is going on in your church. 5 areas that you have to be in control of. Those areas, those plans, those strategies must be crystal clear to you so that I can be able to gain control of what's going on in your church. Or else, if you don't have these 5 areas intact in terms of church growth, you have lost control of it. Okay? And so I'm going to just mention those 5 areas in no time. But please feel free to grab the copy of my book, Church Retention. Church Retention. Please make sure you get it. It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon. It's on Paystack. It's on Seller. Please call my line 08023242258, and then you will be able to get a copy of this book. Please feel free to call me that you need the book, it's loaded, is really what the book is going to solve. You cannot quantify it, and so I want you to just make sure that you get the book, and let the book really transform your life and transform your church. And so please make sure you get the book. Get the book. Okay, the book is well back, and then the front is also well done. All right. So please feel free to make sure you get the book. So 5 areas. Um, today is the last Monday of the month, and of course we want to just go deep down into some good things in the next 10 minutes. Okay, so what are the areas, the plans, the disciplines that you need to put in place to make sure that your church is actually making a headway? So 5 areas that affects church retention. 5 areas, and of course if it affects church retention, it will affect church growth. Number 1, okay, number 1 is your invitational culture plan. Okay, because your church cannot grow until it has some form of volumes coming in through your front door. Okay, coming in through your front door. All right, what is your invitational culture like, your capacity like, your plan like? Okay, what is the percentage of your congregation that is armed and empowered to invite people to your church? Okay, so feel free. I want you to just make it clear that you have to have an invitational culture in place for you to be able to have some form of visitors volume or guest volume coming in through your front door. So I also want to say that your plan must always be put in place. Those people who are just giving their life to Christ, who are coming into your church, and then they are still in touch of the unchurched or the unsaved in the community. Because somebody who is giving his life to Christ has more chances of inviting somebody that is unchurched than somebody who has been part of your church for many years, because their network of friends have changed. So your invitational portal plan must be intentional, in such that you are engaging the community with the people who are just giving their life to Christ. You are also empowering those who are giving their life to Christ. That means the mature disciples to also go into the community to have fruitful gospel conversations with the community. So that's the number 1. You must have some invitational culture plan. What is the plan to make sure that every time there is a meeting of the brethren together, people don't just go to church alone, but they are inviting the unchurched. They are inviting the right people that you can process, the right guests that you can assimilate, the right guests that you can easily follow up. Okay, don't go and get guests that are already established in other churches, or don't get guests that they are stubborn, or they are not, they are just going on from one church to another church hopping. Go after those who are unsaved, okay, who are unchurched, or those who have not been to the 4 walls of the church. And do we have a lot of them like that? Yes, we do. We have a lot of people who have not been to the 4 walls of the church. We still have a lot of people who have been to the 4 walls of the church, but they have not been into the church. And so those 2 areas are good pool of people that you can use your invitational culture strategy to get them into the body. The thing is, those invitational culture must be saturated with the gospel conversations every time. You see, one of the things that the more gospel conversations your people have with the community, the higher the chance your invitational culture will work out, and the higher the chance you're going to the number of converts you're going to have in your church will increase. Number 2, attractional plan. Okay, you have to make sure that the gospel is attractive. There's nobody that will make the gospel attractive other than you and I. We have to be able to package the gospel in such a way that it is attractive. So you have to have that attractional plan, and that is also garnished with your people skills, with you being armed with your community analysis, and also your outreach plan. You see, one thing I want to say about the community analysis is that if you don't know them, you cannot love them. If you don't know where they are, you cannot reach out to them. And if you don't know their state, you cannot change their story. So for me, that attractional plan is so that you know your member avatar, you know those who are staying in your Jerusalem, in your immediate community, and you have a plan to get their attention. You have a plan to pull them into your church. You have a plan to make them interested in having some form of interaction, in some of relationship, some form of acceptance to be invited into the four walls of your church. Attractional plan. Now, one of the things is that if your visitors volume is not so intact, I can tell you that your attractional plan needs to be worked upon. Needs to be worked upon. And so for me, let every church needs to have an attractional plan to make sure that people in the community are being pulled into the church through a good people skills, and then community analysis, and then outreach plan, because you have to be able to reach out. One of the things why churches die is because they look inwards. They stay within, and thank God for coronavirus. Coronavirus has forced the church to leave the four walls of the church, and then they have been able to go out to the community, because that is the mandate of the church. We are not supposed to come into the church. The mandate is to go into the world and make disciples of all nations. So as long as we are going to the world, then we are fulfilling the desires of God, and God is going to give us the blessings for it. Okay. Number 3, evangelistic plan. Okay, what is the plan to make sure that the gospel is being preached on a daily basis? In the Act of Apostles, church was a daily affair. It was not a Sunday affair. So what is your church doing evangelistically to be able to reach out to people on every moment of the day? You can have a plan, schedule a video on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on every 6 hours. You are projecting the gospel. The more you are projecting it, the more you are having those conversations, the more your conversion growth is going to increase. So don't wait for Sunday to be able to harvest. There are people who are on the streets of Facebook, on the streets of YouTube, on the streets of other social media that needs to engage with your evangelistic plan. And so make sure that you meet them at their times, at when they are meeting with you. So have that conversation round the clock, because people are always online. People are always online. Monday, Tuesday, right through the week, people are active and on the internet. And thank God for technology, because the technology we have right now is what God will use to be able to make sure we have the capability to be able to harvest the massive growth of people into the kingdom. So for me, make sure that your church has one, I said what? Invitational culture plan. A plan whereby you use to invite people, an attraction plan. That's a plan you use to be able to make sure that your church and what your church is doing is attractive to the community, to your Jerusalem. Also, evangelistic plan to make sure that you have that conversation all the time, round the clock, to engage with those who have not met with Jesus and they are given the opportunity to give their life to Christ. Number 4, our discipleship plan. Okay, discipleship plan is a plan that you have in place to get somebody who is saved, to make sure that the person becomes a mature disciple. And that's the core of the church. We are meant to go to the world to make a mature disciple. So you have to have a plan to be able to have that discipleship pathway for everyone. That's the mandate of the church, to make mature disciples. What is that plan? What is that process? What is that pathway? What is that strategy that your church can have, that can put in a convert into that process? And then every day, with a matter of time, 3-4 years, you're going to have a mature disciple at the end of the day. You have to have that plan. You have to make sure that plan is always fine-tuned, so that you don't have more dropout rate in the process, so that you can have people to celebrate at the end of the year. You see, in the business world, what they celebrate is profits, dividends. That's what they celebrate. But in the kingdom of our God, what we should celebrate is souls. How many disciples were made? How many souls were added to the kingdom? And that's why in the Act of Apostles, you could see that they were putting the number of people that were added, they were added because that's what makes God to be happy. That's what makes heaven to rejoice. So 4 things I've mentioned so far: 1, invitational culture; 2, attractional plan; 3, evangelistic plan; 4, discipleship plan. Then the last one I want to say that you need to put in place to make sure that your church retention is actually intact so that it affects your church growth is your leadership development plan. You see, one thing is not about just keeping people in the church, but what is your sending capacity? And your sending capacity will be dependent on how you have been able to execute your leadership development plan. When you get those mature disciples, how will you send them into the community to make sure that they make disciples? How will you empower them to become leaders, to be able to inspire other people to become disciples and to become agents of change in whatever sphere they have in the world? Okay, leadership development plan, the process you're going to have to make sure you imbibe some discipline, some leadership discipline, because the truth about it is everybody is a leader. Everybody is a leader, but you have to develop that skill, that leadership skill inside of you, so that when the platform or the opportunity comes, it meets you prepared to be able to cash in on what is offered you, to make sure that you make the maximum impact in this world. So I've said 5 things you need to put in place to make sure that your church retention is intact. Okay, 1 is the invitational culture; 2, attractional plan; 3, evangelistic plan; discipleship plan; and the last one, leadership development plan. Okay, so all these things must be consistent. You don't have to have a plan. I've seen churches who have plan on paper, but the plan must be in implementation, because it's in implementing those plans that the result actually comes to pass. So be consistent about these plans and make sure that your plan is effective and efficient in bringing out the dividend for you at the end of the day. So feel free to be able to get into our social media handle on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. Please make sure that you like our Facebook page. This video has been useful to you. You have any questions, you have any inquiries, please reach out to me on this line, and we'll be glad to respond to you. You won't need a copy of my book on church retention. It's actually really, really rich. It's very rich. It's rich, and I want you to make sure that you get this book. Get this book, Church Retention. Please feel free to go into all our social media handle. You have a question, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment, share us out to your community. Drop a comment for me. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to engage with you in any of our social media handles, and also want to make sure that we are able to offer you some of our services. We do consultation, revitalization, trainings, and strategic planning. Reach out to us and let's see how a group of consultants can help you and move your church forward. Till I come your way next week, Monday, with another continuation of Monday Morning Matters, I say bye-bye and God bless you.